Hey guys, great day for you, I hope. And hopefully the sun is shining where you are. It's so much cooler here today. Yay! I think it's only 79 or something, and it's already the afternoon. So, oh, so much better. So much better. But anyway, I'm sure we'll get back to hot because it is still August, even though this month is almost at an end. Oh my goodness, it's crazy how fast time is going. School has started up again for my college kiddos. Oh, and that's nuts. That's nuts to think about how time has gone by so quickly. And this month, 2025, is like 3/4 of the way over. It's so nuts to think about. Uh, so, yeah, as I begin to think about fall and Christmas already, just because, as fast as this time is gone, the next few months are going to go just as fast. And so I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for it to be Christmas time or to be thinking about fall, even much less. But it is. Time marches on. It waits for no man. All those things that we can remember as we're thinking about time and the craziness of it and how old my children are getting and how I'm looking down at this future in front of me and thinking like, oh, what does life look like after being a mom for 20 something years with kids around all the time, because for the most part of it they were with me either when I ran my business. My kiddos were with me at my office, um, and then for a very short period of time there while I was working outside of the home full time, they were in school. But otherwise I've been a homeschooling mom and have had my children with me for most of the last 22 plus years. And so I'm thinking like, what is this life gonna look like afterwards? And it's a lot of processing because I have devoted my life to being a mom and a wife, and I've still kept up on trying to constantly be learning new things and challenging myself and growing my scaffolding both upwards and outwards so that I am building a life and um, a framework that will just be sustainable and something that I can enjoy for the rest of my life, right? And that hopefully I can help people with. And part of that is doing this YouTube channel to hopefully pass on some words of wisdom. And I hope there's something in there that people are getting something from. But I also know for me, part of the joy is in leaving a visual record for my children to be able to see down the road, when they get into some of these spots of life and begin to see, oh, well, yeah, mom kind of went through some of that same stuff, because human nature and um, and all the things that we deal with are not so different, even from generation to generation. We like to make it a big deal. When you're a teenager, you think, oh, your parents don't know anything. Of course, they don't know anything about it all because they haven't been here. They haven't had to do all these things. They haven't had to deal with this stuff. And in little cases, that is true because technology has changed our world in so many ways. So the things that my parents and my grandparents had to deal with, the things that they did on a day-to-day basis are very different from what we have now. We can actually talk to somebody across the United States anytime we want to, either by text or phone, for very little cost. And we don't have to worry about having a calling card or going to the payphone and having enough change or stuff like I did. I had to have a calling card, or you had to have enough change, or you had to call collect from the payphone. And I remember getting my first cell phone. It was this huge brick of a thing, like, huge. And I think I got 30 minutes of of cell service a month for an exorbitant amount. And now, all the things that have changed for my children, and even the difference between my oldest child and my youngest child. There's a whole difference in there that you don't realize how fast it's changing, and what is going to be the difference between my first grandchildren and my last grandchild. It's going to be a whole other set of differences. And so yes, while some of that is true, the human heart and our human experience don't change that much. We are always trying to find our purpose in life. We're trying to be the best at everything that we have in front of us. We're trying to love those people that we have well. There's certain things on the list of human experience that have been there since the beginning of time, since Adam and Eve, and since Noah and his family off the ark. There's not much change. And if you go back and read history, then you see that. And that's such the valuable part of history for us to constantly be um, reading and learning from, and finding new ways. I love Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. I've listened to that for many years, and it just goes really in depth with a lot of different times of history, and the people, the players in it, and their motivations, and why they did the things that they did, or what was different about them from what was around them or what was before them, and the improvements that they made. But it gives us such a understanding of who we are now and who those people that follow after us might be, by being able to understand our history, because the human experience is really not that different from the 1000 BC to right now in 2025. We all want to be loved. We all want to have purpose. We all want to care for those around us. We want to make our mark, right? Like, everybody wants to make their mark, whether you're a man or a woman. You have an idea of what that means, and for some people that'll be a very small sphere, and that's great. And then for other people, they want to conquer the world. But at the heart of it all, it's still the same thing. We want to be making a difference. We want to be challenging ourselves to be more. But whenever we start doing those things, for a lot of us, that we have this fear of failure, or this idea that we don't know enough to be there, to be able to pursue whatever it is that if we had all this and this and this, that we would be able to do it. But until we get those things, we can't start. And I have done that countless times. I am a very decisive person, but not always when it comes to starting things out, because I'm scared that I will be found out to not be the real deal. So yeah, we always spend a lot of time worrying about the things that we can't control, like whether people will think we're the real deal or not. And I want to be careful doing that to others too. I don't want to be questioning whether or not people have the ability or the expertise to do something, unless it's something I'm staking my life on. Like, if I'm going to trust you about jumping off a bridge and I have to hold on to this rope, I'm going to want to know, what is your background? Why should I trust you in tying this rope? Are you a sailor? Are you a Boy Scout, an Eagle Scout or something? Then that has a little more clout, and I'll be willing to trust that knot a little bit more, though I'm sure that I would go double check it if I had the time to do it. Just because you want to, when things are a valuable input into your life, you want to make sure that you are being as wise as possible. Can't get that out today. So we need to check people's credentials when it comes to something that we're staking our life or our money or whatever on. But in a lot of ways, we can just cheer along with somebody. There was a guy who teaches languages that he doesn't have all the credentials. He doesn't have all the the degrees or any of that. And he fumbles along sometimes. But he makes you want to learn the languages and get excited about doing that in a way that no amount of university education could do for somebody who's boring as all heck. So sometimes it's more important to let people know, hey, I'm not an expert on this all. I'm learning it as I go, and I'm sharing it with you, and we'll learn it together. And yes, I might be a little further on the road than you are, but I'm not claiming to have all these credentials that some people think makes you a more valuable teacher. Sometimes the most valuable teacher is the one who's willing to share everything with you and to walk the road with you in a way that is not the same as somebody who would be doing it from a more hierarchical position and saying, I know this stuff, so you need to trust me. I know these things, so therefore I have more value than this other person who's doing it. Because if you're wanting to learn, you want to learn from somebody who's in the trenches with you, who has some foibles that you can relate to, that you can feel like, okay, we got this. I don't have to pretend to be more than I am. And so finding that fine line of stepping out and taking the chance to do something even when you might not have all your ducks in a row, even when you might not know everything that you need to know about a subject. It takes a lot of courage, and it takes us being willing to do it. And we should be good about supporting people who are doing that and wanting to engage with others in a meaningful way. I think that was the whole kind of idea that I love about YouTube or Instagram or stuff. I don't do any of the other social medias, like I've said before, but one of the pluses is that we get to learn from each other. We get to learn from people that we might not have ever come across in any other way in our lives, whether they are authors or podcast people, on a different level than day-to-day people, or whether they're just that fellow mom down the street who has some really great valuable information about preparing meals or helping your children mind in a way that you struggle with, and being able to learn from each other from all across the world. There's so much value in that. I think that we can glean from that. And so even if you're not perfect, even if you don't know all the stuff about a subject, being willing to share what you know and share the journey with people, it's such a great and valuable contribution that I think we can all do, to help each other out and to help each other grow and be willing to take those next steps. And maybe it'll lead to something more down the road. Maybe you'll be able to spend the time and the money on pursuing that level of education that would make you feel less like an imposter, or less like somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about, from the book side, from the book learning side. But so many people in our history did not have great book learning and went on to become just amazing people, both in their contributions to the world and in the contributions to their family. And so we can do the same, even though this technology has changed, and even though we have all these opportunities, the same things still apply, right? History just repeats itself. I mean, it's cyclical. It's not repeating itself as in everything's going to happen as it goes, but it repeats itself as far as what the natural human endeavors are that we want to pursue. That we want to pursue love, and we want to pursue purpose, and we want to pursue goodness. We love beauty. Beauty is a huge pursuit in our lives. That's why we like to decorate our houses and make things look nice, and want to come to places that do a good job. I mean, you appreciate a restaurant that has nice decor versus one that just slapped everything together, right? So beauty is something that we definitely all pursue in different ways, and beauty can look different to different people. That's why there's all different kinds of genres of art. Do you like more impressionist? Do you like realism? Do you like sculpture? Do you like what kind of music do you like? And these are all the differences that we can have while still all being under the heading of beauty. But anyway, I would just encourage you, if you're thinking about starting something, if it's even a YouTube channel, or if it's a business that you want to start, or whatever, there's always going to be stuff. No matter how good you are, no matter how much you learn, there's always going to be other things that you need to learn and that you don't come up against until you come up against them. And so waiting for this perfect time, waiting for that pee to not be in the mattresses, as the Princess and the Pea talks about, waiting for that pee to not be there anymore. It's not always going to happen. You just have to go on and do the best that you can with what you have, and let other people know as you're going about it. Maybe I don't have it all together, and yes, I'm humble enough to want to learn from those who correct me, but I also am going to take everything that people say with a grain of salt. If they're not out there fighting the fight next to me, if they're not out there doing stuff, if they're not out there trying things in their life, then I want to take their criticism or their comments in a way that will equate to the value that they're putting into their life and into the arena of this life that we're all a part of. So anyway, I hope that you guys have a great rest of the day, and maybe there was something in there that was useful for you. I ended up having to record this in 2 parts, so I'm gonna have to try and splice it. Maybe it'll come out okay. Maybe it'll have to be part 1 and part 2. I'll have to see. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day and enjoy it. Get out and enjoy the weather. Hopefully it's a little cooler for you. Still only 79 or so here, and it's later in the afternoon, and I'm so thankful because we've been over the hundreds for a long while here. So and it's not as muggy today too. So all around a very cool and good day. So you guys have a great day. Get out there and do something new. Challenge yourself to be in the arena and not just watching from the outsides, but doing something. All right, bye guys.